Hello and welcome to this new moon in Cancer forecast video. This is a new series on this channel. I have not done a new moon forecast, but I think it's time that we introduce the new moons into this cycle, as well as every month on the full moon, I do a live stream and we talk about the forecast. But for this is virtually a cold reading. So if you're new to reading astrology or you want to hear yet another take on this new moon during this time of 2026 in July, come along with me and let's see what we unpack together from the universe. So just as a reminder, I always do my charts with an Aries rising, so we're not talking about houses today. I'm primarily focusing on the aspects I see in the chart, which frankly, in my opinion, is where most of the astrology truly is in the relationships or the frequencies being created between the planetary positions and how they affect us on Earth. If you're interested in the houses, of course, you can cast this chart. I have it set for the exact time of the new moon in Cancer at 21 degrees 59 minutes, and that would be at 2:44 a.m. in Seattle, Washington Pacific time. Wherever you are in the world, convert it to your time zone, and you should get the same 21 degree Cancer moon, but your houses will look different. So you can start incorporating the house meaning into that for your community, or you can also take this exact chart and put it around your chart. Find where 21 degrees of Cancer is in your unique natal chart, and that will tell you what house is being lit up for you with this new moon, and maybe something you could focus on if you want to manifest with this new moon or do some sort of magic to begin this next moon cycle. And just as a reminder, this moon cycle does last for the next 30 days, but you can also look at this as a much longer cycle. You could take the culmination of this period to be the full moon that we have in Cancer during the winter time. So looking in the next 6 months, how is this culminating in this house in your chart? You could also look at it that way as well. If we're taking a look at this chart, I'm seeing this for the first time. The first thing, of course, I'm going to do is find the new moon and figure out where is it, 21 degrees, and what do I see around it? Well, just 2 little degrees away, I have Mercury, which just went cazimi. That means it was exactly conjunct with the sun. Cazimi only works for the sun, by the way, because the sun's light is blowing Mercury really, really loud, out of proportion as to the rest of its cycle. And Mercury, we know, is in retrograde. So Mercury is so close, very much whispering into this new moon in Cancer's ear. Although because Mercury is now a little bit further away from the sun, if we were to look up in the sky, we don't see Mercury. We don't see Mercury moving backwards. We don't see Mercury at all because it's so close to the sun at this point. The sunlight is blinding us to where Mercury actually is. And you can see this, of course, was at 2:44 in the morning here. So the sun is below the horizon. We're not seeing the moon or the sun or Mercury at this time anyway. Just a little bit of astronomy for you. Now, because of that, I see Mercury as definitely a very important piece of this, but Mercury's light, because it's going backward and because it's blinded by the sun, is not as strong as it typically would be within its orbit. And so things might be a little wonky, things might be a little understated, things may not have been said or may be harder to communicate. Words might be harder to find. The right type of communication might just be something that we're struggling for a little bit around this time. Maybe it's around Cancer, right? The emotions, tapping back into memory. Can we actually remember the thing we were trying to remember, or is it hard to grasp for right now? Mercury is absolutely there. So I see there is an emphasis already just from looking at this, that there's an emphasis on the mind, Mercury, on the mental, on communication, also potentially on technology or travel. So these might be a core part of what we're experiencing right now. And somehow it's tying into Cancerian energy. So Cancer, I always think of as divine feminine energy. So this is reception. This is protection, defensiveness. This is, and not defensiveness just to be defensive and annoying. It's defensive as in I'm a mama bear. I will protect, right? We're putting up the, whoa, hold on, like don't cross my boundary. There's a sense of security that is strengthened in Cancer. And again, protection and nurturing. But there's some sort of mental element to this that's being emphasized. So did I protect enough? Did I nurture enough? Did I care enough? Did I hold enough? Am I able to do that? Did I, again, remember, Cancer is very nostalgic looking backwards. So was I able to recall or recollect something that happened in the past? Or is my memory maybe a little bit, funky right now? Is it harder to grasp or harder to reach for those things? Or maybe people are remembering things differently. Just out of the gate, this is what I'm seeing informing this new moon. We're looking for what's right next to it. Now, of course, a new moon in Cancer, the moon loves being in Cancer. It's the moon's home. This is the home of this luminary. So the moon is very comfortable here. And at this new moon in Cancer, she gets to return back home to herself and really ask, what is it I need, right? Mood has to do with the body and with our needs of the body. It's also to do with what our heart desires, but it's those quiet, like whispers our heart wants for us. And so when it's threatened, it can feel very, very personal. This is why Cancer with the crab, right? Like when the moon is threatened, whenever your moon is being threatened, that is where your like comes out. Your defense mechanisms really come out. And some of those are conditioning that we've received in our lives that, you know, it's a form of self-protection because we've had to preserve our bodies, ourselves in some respect. Growing up or as we've, you know, gotten older and wiser, we've learned to protect ourselves, protect our heart a little bit. This is that like soft part inside of ourselves that we are always trying to protect. But with that comes those needs, those desires, those wants and wishes that we hold dear to us that are more private. And so when the moon comes back home to her sign and meets with the other luminary, the sun, which gives life, gives vitality, illuminates, right? That is our coming back home to ourselves and asking, okay, what is it we need? What is it our body is asking for? What is it our heart is craving? Where have our needs been met? And where would we like somebody maybe to come nurture us a little bit because we've done all this nurturing? What is it I want to breathe life into and care for and protect and nurture? These are all questions being asked with this new moon. And then remembering that we have this emphasis of Mercury where maybe we haven't been able to voice those things. We haven't been able to clearly communicate our needs or our desires, our emotions. Of course, being in water signs, emotions are totally at the forefront here. Now I'm going to look at, okay, the rulers, and the rulers for this moon are very easy. So it's a good moon to start off with because the ruler of the moon in Cancer is the moon itself. So she's, again, at home. She's very comfortable. We don't need to look at any other stimulus or any other influences because she's right here. And our biggest influence is, of course, the sun, and the sun's ruler in Cancer becomes the moon. So the moon is in charge. So now because I see that the rulers are right next to each other, you might be wondering, okay, what's this over here? This is Jupiter. Jupiter's in the sun sign of Leo. Okay. Sun rules over the Jupiter right now. So that kind of adds a little bit of a flavor of this like Jupiterian luck and optimism. I can do it. I can get it done. I can say it. It's going to all turn out okay. The doors are going to open. It's all going to be all right. And so there's this flavor of maybe optimism or expansion or good luck or just sort of jubilance and joy into this new moon. So anybody who's trying to make this moon heavy, I just want to caution that emphasis. Yes, the moon is in a profoundly deep and sensitive sign, but there is definitely this sense of, first of all, like busyness, because that's what Mercury in retrograde will create, is like haste and energy and urgency. That's maybe like, we're going to tune that out for a second because it's been pretty nonstop. And Jupiter is adding its flavor of abundance in here. And like, you've got enough time. It's going to be all right. We're going to make it work. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great. We're going to shine. Now, Jupiter, I would not say is conjunct, right? If you're wondering, okay, so these all look very close together, but you can see Jupiter is 3 degrees of Leo. So that is actually 12 degrees away from this sun and this moon. So while I wouldn't say the signature is very close, I would say because it is close enough and we have it in the sun's rulership, Jupiter's adding a little bit of a flavor here. Now, Jupiter, meanwhile, is opposing Pluto in Aquarius. And this is an aspect that is perfecting this week. Everybody talking about Barbault's basket. In the astrology world, this is on the forefront of everybody's mind, this historic transit. And it's been certainly heavy on my heart for the last year because it's happening in some pretty intense spaces. So we're building into that. We're mounting. Maybe there's this sense with this new moon of like, we're about to face something really profound and big, or maybe the world is heading in a direction that we can't control, and we feel a sense of powerlessness toward the like wave of collective consciousness, collective movement that our world is going in. Maybe it's the technology piece of where is technology leading us right now. Pluto here is adding that sense of what's underneath the surface, that sort of like low Jumanji drums, a boom, 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 boom. Like we feel it coming. And maybe it's met with a sense of excitement, or anxiety or doom, right? But it's something we can't quite see yet. And so Jupiter is absolutely going to inform this moon because we kind of get this quiet right before the fireworks. of the sun moving into Leo and all the fire and all the air that everybody's talking about. It's right there. We are so close to it. So I really would encourage, just based on this alone, we haven't even gotten to aspects that the moon's truly making yet, but just looking at this alone, seeing that Jupiter is leading, anticipating into this big opposition. We're right on the precipice of a lot of air and fire energy, but we have this quieter moment. I don't know about you. I feel like every new moon now I see online, astrologers and people are talking about how pivotal it is, how it's the time to make the most important decision to start the next cycle. And while all that's well and good, I think that a new moon in Cancer especially is an opportune time to take the step back and just get back in touch with your body. Like, have you been listening to yourself? Have you been listening to your physical body's needs? Have you been listening to the need for rest, the need for quiet, the need for peace, maybe someone to be nurtured with just your presence? This does not have to be a loud moon. It really doesn't. And not every moon needs to be pivotal and crazy. We're facing plenty of kind of overwhelming aspects. I think I've definitely seen people are feeling intimidated or confused or worried. They want to make the best of it, right? And the truth is, yes, we do come across these historic alignments, and this is one that is pretty incredible, but it's also dealing with a lot of these outer planets. We are going to have Jupiter involved. We're going to have Pluto involved. We're going to have Neptune involved. We're going to have Uranus involved. These are all the outer planets. Jupiter is probably the most personal of those planets. And when the sun meets with Jupiter a little while later in the month around July 25th and 26th, that can feel a bit more personal. But no matter what, this big alignment that everyone is talking about, that we are just at the moment of touching, is dealing with these much larger planets that rule much more than just our personal lives. And that's not to say we can't take advantage and we can't use it to the best of our ability, but I think recognizing that a lot of it is out of our control and a lot of it is within the greater scope of collective consciousness is important to recognize, that we can take as much ownership in our own lives as we want to. But if we're doing so under this burdensome pressure of we have to change our reality, how helpful is that really? And I'm leaving that as an open question. And I'd love, actually, if anybody feels moved to share their response or share their, fears, questions, ideas, maybe rebuttal with me in the comments, by all means. I want to know, because I'd love to start a conversation with people that are actually paying attention to these transits. I certainly am. And at first I looked at that whole alignment as being such an incredible time to take advantage of. And I still feel that way about my own life, but I also, from an astrologer's perspective, I'm recognizing that so much of our outer world is happening, whether or not I'm involving myself, whether or not I'm on this path of manifestation. And it's important to recognize that all planets carry the entirety of the spectrum of their energy. So we're going to be met with, yes, the optimism, the flowing of air and fire, the spirit, the energy, the possibility. We're going to be met with all of the Jupiterian abundance and the Uranian excitement and stimulation. We're going to be met with Neptune's dream. We're going to be met with Pluto's transformation. Those all things sound incredible, but it's the full spectrum of them. So with the dream comes the dissolution and the surrender of the ego and the tearing down of the illusion itself and realizing, oh, it was just a dream. With the transformation comes death first. What are we saying goodbye to? What's the end? That is being lit up with this. Jupiter is a magnifying glass. So it takes this whole thing and it makes it it's why nobody can stop talking about it. It's right in front of our eyes. It makes it overwhelming. It makes it pressure. It makes it feel like, I don't want to say a responsibility. That feels more like Saturn's territory, but more just this overwhelmingly large mission that if we don't accomplish, we're not living to our highest potential. Jupiter waves the highest potential in front of us and says, see, you're capable. You can do it. Expand, meet me there. But at what cost? What's it going to take? And where are we expanding? What are we magnifying? And then Uranus, I know so many, this is getting to be a little bit of a chatty video, but I don't care at this point. We're just going to put this out. Uranus adds so much stimulus. People's nervous systems are fried right now. We cannot do anything for a long amount of time without getting distracted, moving on to the next thing. What's the next issue? What's the next to-do list item? I mean, it's cuckoo out there. I'm part of that. I've noticed that within myself, my own attention span, just shortening and shortening. And Uranus wants novel and new and what's next and what's happening next. And I want the next thing and I want the next thing and I want the next thing. And it's always got to be exciting. You see how this gets exhausting. So can this new moon in Cancer be that quiet, peaceful moment right before all this happens with all its expectation for us to tap back in and be like, how am I talking to myself? How am I really tapping into what my body needs? Have I had a moment of peace? Have I had a moment where I felt held and protected? What would it take to feel that way, to get there? Am I actually allowing myself this, or am I so surrounded in stimulus right now that I haven't even checked in? I haven't even stepped back to listen. This moon, now let's look at some aspects. It's going to be in a half square exactly to Uranus over here in Gemini, which we just talked about a little bit. And also over here, here's Venus in Virgo. She just entered Virgo a few days ago. Venus is not super happy in Virgo because Venus wants to be loved and to be cherished and to be celebrated. In Virgo, she says no to a lot of things. I shouldn't say she's not happy, but she definitely appears that way to others. Like, is there anything that you are going to be satisfied with? But Venus knows in Virgo precisely what she wants to attract, precisely the type of relationship she wants to manifest, precisely the amount of money that needs to come in and out of the bank, right? Venus in Virgo narrows down and refines into truth. Right now, this new moon is at this crossroads, is really being hit on both sides, and a half square, by the way. A square is an aspect of change. It's an aspect of action. It demands movement of some kind. There is no longer just sitting there. You are forced to choose one way or another. It is like a crossroads moment. You choose that direction, you go. Or you don't choose, you sit on your butt, then something else happens. So it's a moment of choice. A half square is very much the same energy, but more concentrated, more refined down. So it's not going to be on our mind until the precise moment it's exact. And then suddenly it feels very personal to you. And so we have this moon standing between two of these aspects, to Uranus and to Venus. Venus in Virgo says, let's narrow it down. Let's get really specific, really precise. And also there's an element of purity, of truth in Virgo energy that Venus is trying to find and illuminate. And so it really has to cut away all the excess, all the grit, all the fluff, all the stuff that doesn't matter. Let's get to the actual point that matters, that's useful, that's practical, that we can actually build from. Uranus in Gemini over here is busy collecting all of the data. In fact, if it's not the next piece of new data, it's not interested. It wants new, it wants more. Give me more numbers, more ideas, more. And so Uranus is also stimulating this moon. And here we are caught between these two. Do we accept all of it as divine inspiration, or do we get super, super specific? All the planets hold the entire spectrum of their archetype, of their energy. This moon sits between two really prominent forces and kind of takes our mind and just like mutes it for a second underneath those sun's beams. The opportunity and the awareness for like what the direction we're going in is feels so important, so urgent. You know, the basket's coming. And that's all well and good. And if you're excited and you're motivated by that, then by all means, use it. But I, for one, am tired of the constant need for the new and novel. I would really like to get back to basics. Maybe I'm favoring Venus and Virgo a little bit here, but there's an element of the Venus and Virgo that I'm also not as fond of. And here's what it is. When we try to get it perfect, this video is a great example. I just sat down today with zero plan. I just felt like filming. Okay. When we try to get things so polished, so pure, so perfect, we say the exact right thing. We miss that divine inspiration. We miss that moment where we grasp something out of thin air and it feels magical, not because it's right or it's precise, but because it feels true in the moment. It feels inspired. Like we miss the spontaneity when we have Virgo heavily emphasized. And that's something Uranus can give us. So can we find this center between these two opposing energies where we're open, we allow for that divine inspiration to strike us at any moment, without being so pressured to grasp at every single sparkly object that comes our way. Can we just be open? Cancer energy, when it is solid, when it's at peace, when it's healthy, is capable of receiving. It doesn't just put the boundary up to everybody. It says, I am secure, I am solid, I am soft, and I am strong. So come at me. What are you gonna bring to the table? I know my worth. So maybe this new moon is a wonderful opportunity to just sit in the receiving, to be pleasantly surprised, and to know within the self that you are strong, you are surviving, you're okay. You don't have to force it. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to grasp desperately for it. Let's get desperation off the table. And that whatever is meant to manifest for you, the energy is already there. The basket is already operating. So whatever is happening for you in the moment right now is precisely what is meant to be happening. If you knew that you could not fail in this moment, just by being exactly yourself and remaining open to what divine inspiration brings you this week, what could you be capable of? I hope that this new moon brings you that peace, that moment to just receive that wisdom. And who knows, maybe you'll do something crazy and spontaneous, like film a video of yourself talking, or prance outside in the sunshine, or sing a piece of music that you love, or go see a friend and just relish in their company and their presence and not be rushed to go anywhere. And maybe that is what gives you the next step. Whatever that may be, I wish you a blessed new moon in Cancer. And thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that there will be more like this because this was fun and spontaneous. As always, I am your humble astrologer, Cawnawyn Mor, and I look forward to seeing you at the full moon in Aquarius at the end of this month. Blessed be.